My name is Jonathan Gillum.
And this is The Experts. Hello, everybody. Hold on one second. Having difficulties. One. So you all can hear me, but I can't hear myself. Evidently is what I'm getting here. Okay. Now, can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up or something. 222 working for me. All right. We'll see. Sorry about that jacked up intro there. I don't know what happened. That was very strange. Okay. So we got it now. And here we are, folks. Friday night. Friday night with a bunch of errors there, and we'll probably lost a ton of people, them looking at me. So here we go. Looks like my sound may be off a little bit too. I can't tell if it's let me know what you think. Let me just check this out here. Hold on one second. Just bear with me, folks. Between that and Rico walking around here, he's about to get smacked here in a second. Hold on. Hold on. Let's see here. Let me know what you think. Let me just check this out here. Hold on one second. Just bear with me, folks. Between that and Rico walking around here, he's about to get smacked here in a second. All right. Yeah, it looks like it's working. All right. I don't know what that was. Little technical difficulty there for a second. We're good to go now. We don't sweat the small stuff, right? Make sure that you have a tasty beverage. I bet the people that are watching this for the first time were like, what kind of intro is this to a show? 2 years, and you know what? Really, to be honest with you, that's like the first technical difficulty we've had in several months, I think. We've been doing pretty good without the technical issues. So, it's good to be back again. I said this last night, how it's good to be back after being on Newsmax for a week and being back at the 8 o'clock hour where everybody that watches this show is at. Right now, if you have not done this yet, share this show. If you're on Facebook, if you're on Twitter, retweet it. If you're watching it right now, tweet it out on Twitter. And if you're on YouTube, let's see how many people we got over here. We have 18 people on YouTube. That's just the weirdest thing. But I love all of you. Thank you for coming on YouTube. I get a lot of views afterwards on YouTube. So it's Friday, January 5th, 2018. Who would have ever thought, 2018. It's like I remember in 1987 when I graduated. I never even conceived of 2018. Here we are, so many years in the future. Hello, Liz, that just joined us there, and Jennifer. So tonight, there's not a whole lot to talk about tonight in the news. It's one of these nights where a lot of stuff, sure, there's a lot of stuff we could talk about, right? First off, it's Friday, and I've been sick. I'm just now, those of you that have had this, whatever has been going around, it's like I've felt better for 2 days, but no energy, zero energy whatsoever. So I'm just now getting to the point where, I don't know, I feel better, but I just have no energy. So part of it may have to do with this weird weather and stuff that we're having. But so what I have seen that I want you to pay close attention to in the news, and this is no big secret, but this guy, what is his name here again? Let me pull it up. I think it's the guy that wrote this new book about Trump. Let's see, where is it at? I think it's Max. Let's see here. Again, Fox News loves to. I can't even hardly go to their website anymore because they change everything so quickly, and then they bury the stuff in the bottom. Anyway, the guy that wrote this new book that caused Trump and Bannon to get into this argument, it seems like there is something about this guy that wrote it. I've got to just look up this book. Let me see here. Stand by. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, Michael Wolff. There you go. Michael Wolff. When I started doing a little research on this guy, because I didn't really know him, but then I recognized him from CNN, of course. And he's another one of these leftist weirdos. But more than that, he's a gossiper. Like he comes from like an entertainment gossip type of background, and he really is like more than anything. When you look at his pedigree and what he's known for making stuff up. And even in his description, I think it's an intro, he even says himself that he's not sure all the things are true, because what he did was, kind of reminds me of that movie, if you saw it there a couple of years ago, about Noah's Ark. Come here, dog. Hold on a second. Come here, Rico. I'll get him in a second. So there was a movie about Noah's Ark that came out a couple of years ago, and it was horrible. It was ridiculous. It wasn't based on the Bible at all. Besides the fact that a guy named Noah built an ark and that he put his family in it, but there was like some guy who was like fighting him and snuck on the ark, and the angels that had fallen angels were actually good. They did good things for Noah to help him, live, and this total crap. The movie was stupid. Russell Crowe should punch himself for having made that movie. Well, this guy, what he did was, Michael Wolff, he took different stories that he heard about, not necessarily that he sat down and had in-depth interviews, different stories that he heard about, and then he crafted a narrative out of those stories. Now, where I come from, where I grew up, that's called gossip, and you don't repeat gossip. I don't get it. It was like that's now accepted as truth, and so the other news agencies go out and report on this stuff. So I know that I yesterday said what I said about Bannon, and the fact is everything I said yesterday about Bannon is absolutely true, but the fact is that we don't know. We don't know if Bannon said this stuff or not. We don't know. And yeah, somebody there on Twitter said he's a fiction author. Yes, he is. He's a fiction author, and he should be treated as such. But yet, in mainstream media, now what they're going to do is they'll take what he says, and they will they're going to make it as though it's truth, and as though he did some type of insightful interviews and got it all correct. So
it's just another sign of the reality of what, excuse me, somebody wrote me yesterday, I forget your name. He wrote and said, you've got to stop saying the reality of this and start saying the truth. And I get it. But I mean, and I will start saying that more. And I appreciate constructive criticism. I really do. And so I'll try to start saying my tagline more, this is the truth. But it's also reality. When we look at reality this day and age, what we see is gossip is accepted as enough fact to report on something. Instead of digging or waiting to see what the facts are, they don't do that. They will just simply, what was that? You said that so-and-so said that? Oh, really? Okay, let's just report it. And that's what they do. I mean, when did we get, look, there's always gossip has always been in this world. I mean, the Bible talks about gossip. In the Old Testament, God despises gossip. Yet, this many years later, 2018, here we go. And it's all gossip. It's a sad state of affairs in this country and around the world, but all I can talk about is this country. I love looking at these different Twitter people, which I'm not going to get focused on that tonight. But I do like going back and reading what the trolls and the leftists write in this. Treason, dude, you are an ex-SEAL. Yes. People don't know the difference between a fact and inference. So I'd like to know what people that like to say this is treason, that's treason. Do you even know what the definition of treason is? Most of you do not know what the definition of treason is. And why do you not know that? Because, again, you fail to look up the definition, and you fail to put it in the context of the reality of what's happening in the world today. Treason, the crime of betraying one's country, especially by attempting to kill the sovereign or overthrow the government. The crime of murdering someone to whom the murder owed allegiance, such as a master or a husband. That's another form. The action of betraying someone or something. But overall, the crime of betraying one's country, especially by attempting to kill the sovereign or overthrow the government. So what people need to realize, and I've done several shows on this stuff, is that there's been no such actions by the Trump administration that can be proven that they were in effect trying to overthrow the government. There's no factual base for anything, any meeting that they had with anybody from Russia, as though they had these official types of meetings to go in there and say, we want to overthrow this, we want to do this. If that was the case, all right, you wouldn't just, I can guarantee you this, okay? If anybody from the Trump administration, including Don Jr., had gone in and had meetings with officials from the Russian government, those, and I can't go into great detail, but this is what separates most of you and myself. And I could say the same thing about somebody who's an architect. I'm not an architect. They'll have insight into how buildings are built. I don't have that insight, right? I'm not an engineer of any kind. So I'll say, yeah, that's a building. It's made out of cement and steel, but I don't know how it's structured. Well, you and most of these trolls that are on here don't understand that they didn't do anything illegal by meeting with Russian dignitaries. If you are running for president and they call a meeting so they can meet face to face, nothing illegal about that. And again, I can't go into great detail about this, but the majority of that stuff is overheard in one way, shape, or form. If it's in public or if it's in certain buildings, it's going to be heard by the United States government. Okay, I'll just leave it to you that way. And when those things are overheard, if a government official is saying something, or somebody that's running for president and is in this point of the election, goes out and tries to start either garnering deals for the United States government without being an official representative of the government, or if they are trying to do treasonous affairs where they're trying to overthrow the government, that stuff is going to be overheard. Now, if the leftists in this country are this quick to leak the names of those people overheard, which is illegal because you can't unmask names. The only time you're unmasking names is if they've done something illegal, and you have to get a warrant for that. Well, they didn't do that. They were unmasking the names and then leaking them to the press, which is illegal. But had there been anything in there, I mean, come on. Look, you could be as left as you want or stupid as you want of a troll. The fact is, had they said anything that was even remotely treasonous, don't you think that would have been reported? Don't you think that would have been leaked right along with the name of the person that did it? Probably so. So here's the reality is that most likely these people, I think personally, which I've said before, and I wrote an article about this in the Daily Caller last year, is that I believe all this stuff is the same thing as entrapment. I believe that the Democratic Party and the Clintons and all the leftists and the globalist community, they have a system of sources and different people so that they can set people up so that they basically can request these meetings, and then they know it's going to be overheard. And the reality is they know that once they leak those names, they don't have to leak the names really, because they already know. Right? They're just doing the formality. They go and they unmask the person. They get a warrant, and then they do a FISA investigation, which means they're going to get like a listening device in there, which pretty much is already there. And then they leak the names of these people, and the media takes it. And just like this guy, Michael Wolff, they just spread this stuff. It's not even true. But they spread it. They got the name. They met with the Russians. Boom, they spread it. And then all these narratives start spinning up. The point is of all this, just as stupid as the people on Twitter that go out and say, this is a fact and that's a fact, and this, you don't know. You have no clue what's a fact and what's not a fact. You're not in Washington, D.C. You're not privy to these recordings. You probably don't even realize the fact that all these things are overheard anyway, and that's how it happens. That's how it gets out. You don't know the reality of the deep state. You don't know the reality of what their motivation is. You don't know. And so for you to come on and say this stuff, the reality is that you're falling victim to this gossip. And that's all this is gossip. And no, I don't think it's a little bit suspicious. The fact is, what is suspicious to me is how Mueller and before him Comey and all these other individuals that hate President Trump so much and were so in love with President Clinton, and who took, their wives like McCabe took money from up to almost $1 million from the Democratic campaign committee. All that stuff is very suspicious to me. When we hear these text messages of them talking about an insurance policy to get rid of this president, I find that stuff very suspicious. But even more than that, there's not an investigation. And if you're a detective or somebody who's watching this show, you will be able to back me up on this. There's no investigation that just says, where somebody says, I bet this is happening, and then all of a sudden evidence pops up that validates what you just said, or this evidence, or that. No case just unfolds. It has to be investigated, and the way that it has been. Look, I'm going to block this person. I'm tired of when people don't listen to what I'm saying. There's nothing suspicious about the meeting with Donald Trump Jr. in Russia. Somebody got in touch with him and said they had information on Hillary Clinton. He went and met with him. There was nothing there. Now, most people would have gone and met with him. There's nothing suspicious, nothing illegal. What he should have done, though, was call the FBI immediately. That's what he should have done. But see, they're not privy to the way the government and the deep state works. They're finding out now. But Donald Trump went and met with this person, and Donald Trump Jr., and it sounds to me like he fell victim to some form of entrapment. That's the way that stuff works. And it's all bound. The whole reason why I even was talking about this today is because the people are so apt to follow gossip. You're so quick to listen to gossip and not verify it, not validate it, not vet it. You just, that's what they said. That's the truth. And that's not the way this works. You know, I remember my Uncle Doc is watching this show tonight, and I remember we grew up in Yellville. There used to be a thing called party lines, which I've talked about in this show before, where if you had a hard line, well, we didn't have cell phones back then, so everybody had a hard line, and when you pick up the phone to make a phone call, there might be other people on the line. And you could listen to what was going on. They probably could hear you, but you could listen to people be gossiping. If you took that information and then went and started telling other people, that there's no way you're ever going to spread the truth. You can't validate whether or not those people knew what they're talking about. You're not going to approach them because you got that information in secret, and in an illegal manner. The fact is, it is all gossip, and you can't validate it, and we should not be allowing the media to get away with this in the way that they do. I believe that media and mainstream media should not be allowed to have access to the airways if they are going to call themselves journalists and portray themselves as credible when in fact they're nothing more than reality TV, which even that I don't think should be able to be called. Why would you call something reality TV when it's scripted? It's not reality. It's scripted. I talked to somebody who is on one of these reality TV shows. I'm not going to say which one. And he said that the way they shoot this show is they go about their day, and when something happens, they stop, they look at the situation, they come up with a story, and the writers write some stuff out, and then they go with it. And that's how they create reality TV. It's not real. They create about 50% of it is fake. And that's the way it is with all these different news outlets. So I think that's about it. I was going to get Rico, but I think he's walking around, maybe outside going to the bathroom right now. So let's go ahead and do this before I lose my voice. I hope you have your tasty beverage. And yes, you're right there, Maureen. The producers create scenarios as they tape. So make sure you have your tasty beverage. And we're going to get started with the, let me check something here real quick. Hold on a second here. Just stay right there. Don't go anywhere. Don't move. Don't breathe. Just stay there. Let's see here. Doop, 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 doop. I'm going to change something tonight. I'm going to change it a little bit here. Okay. And there's my phone. So let's go to the truth zone, shall we? And let's do this. If I can find it. All right. Changed up a little bit. I changed the music a little bit. Let me grab this dog. Hold on. Come here. There he is. Oh my goodness. What are you? He's panicking. He always panics when I get on here. What's wrong with you? So he's got a lesson for you, okay? Don't gossip. It's bad. It's bad. Say it. It's bad. Well, he doesn't like the snow anymore. He used to love it when he was little, but not anymore. So here's the deal, folks. Stop loving information. Information is a tool. It's not something you love. If you continue to love it and you treat it as something like an addiction where I got to have more information, you're going to end up being dumber. So you need to make a decision today that when you see things on television or you hear it on the radio, that you make a quest, a determination. You strive to vet that information. You should hunger for wisdom. You should seek out knowledge. You should go to the ends of the earth to gain the experience so you can understand that knowledge, and you will get wisdom. But if you just simply long for information, you're going to get whatever somebody gives you. And that may not be right. I'm Jonathan Gillum. This is my buddy Rico. Melting out of my legs here. Stay. This is the Experts. Happy Friday. Let's do the toast now. You gonna stay up here with me? All right, let's do it. Here's to those who seek out wisdom, and here's to the truth tellers in this world. I'll finish that off air. Peace. I'll see y'all Monday. Of course, if something breaking happens, I'll come up, but look how he's falling asleep. All right. Peace out. And I will see you guys next week. The truth has arrived. Just so you have transparency and know that it was a fact, I forgot to turn my microphone down and I belched into the microphone. Peace! How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.
That's all, folks. Peace out.